Continuing from where we left in the last episode where Mother was describing relationship between Father and Primordial Mother, they are the symbols of perfect husband and wife. They are the source of human love, the ultimate source being God Almighty. He is the greatest human being. All other human relationships like father, mother, sister and brother are also expressed through her. The whole episode of Leisure can also be described in a very poetic drama as an act of love. The father very lovingly pulls her towards him, cajoling her and giving her an encouraging, strengthening push. This fills her being with self-expression. Her ego breaks her shyness and indolent love, leisure. And she assumes her glorious personality. In this way she is lured to create alone, separating herself from her Lord and love. The sound of Pranava. Pranava's sound is known as Anahat. It is generated when the primordial cell breaks like the hatching of an egg. It is audible with the departure of the nucleus from the ellipse. The first linear movement of Adi Shakti makes the first primordial sound, eh. The push of Sadashiva causes the second primordial sound, o. The third sound, mae, is caused by the pause stage, which follows the breathing in and breathing out of the primordial zygote. Pranava is therefore the all-pervading divine power of Adi Shakti, and Anahat is the sound created, without any percussion, by this power. It can be understood better by describing Anahat as the sound announcement of Pranava. These three primordial syllables A, O, and Ma represent the three powers of the primordial mother. A represents the existence and destructive power of Mahakali. O represents the creative power of Mahasaraswati. Ma represents the sustenance or evolutionary power of Mahalakshmi. These three primordial syllables, later on, form the primordial words, bija mantras, aim, hrim and klim. Altogether these comprise the phonetic words of the Devanagari script, Sanskrit, and will be examined in greater detail in the chapter on chakras. Much before the hatching of the primordial egg, the primordial zygote reaches the embryonic stage. It starts breathing and creates the primordial sound, anahata, that fills the entire embryo, which encircles the central point. The breathing of Adi Shakti is the pranava or divine power, while its sound is called anahata. This sound is without percussion and is heard on the heart as a pulsation. This sound is a mixture of 7 component sounds, Nadabrahma, which when heard together creates the beautiful word, Om. When it is broken into its component parts it sounds like A, Oo, and Ma. It is written as 2. It later ascends through the different subtle centers on the path of Kundalini, the residual power of Pranava, and becomes the word. The primordial zygote grows just like a human zygote. As the primordial zygote develops into the primordial being, Adi Purusha, so identically a human zygote grows into a complete human being. It is therefore absolutely true to say that God made man in his own image. The primordial zygote develops into his full maturity through evolution until he assumes his greatest and full form as the great primordial being, the Virata. The great primordial being assumes 3 aspects, manifesting himself according to the field, kshetra, of his perception. Just as a man can have 3 fields of perception, at his house, at his office, and in society, being a son, a husband and a father, although always remaining the same person, so it is with God, whose field is the play created by his power, Adi Shakti. God Almighty as paramount God or Supreme Spirit is called Parameshwara. The power of God Almighty is known as Parameshwari. He resides at the very top spot on the head of the primordial being, Virata. He is the absolute fountainhead, and all his three aspects radiate from him. He is like the root of the tree of life, and his three aspects are like three branches of the same tree. He is the all-witnessing primordial being, and is reflected in the heart of the great primordial being as Ishwara, God in spirit. His power is known as Ishwari. This is the detached power of the great witness, Sarva Sakshi. It exists in all animate and inanimate beings. In human beings it is reflected as spirit, Atma, in the heart. As seen before, Adi Shakti goes into three more abstract forms before starting the creation. These three forms exist in the Utpatti or the beginning stage of cosmic creation, and are Valaya, Bindu and Ardhabindu. The three aspects of God Almighty as Parameshwara. Adi Shakti expresses the three aspects of God Almighty in the great primordial being. They are Sadashiva, Ishwara, Hiranyagarbha, Prajapati, and Virata. Sadashiva. The unchangeable identity of God is called Sadashiva, and his power incarnates as Mahakali. The power of God represents his desire to express his creation through his Shakti, Mahakali, who is responsible for existence. She destroys the demons and devils who disturb the processes of evolution. Though his existence is felt in the heart of the Virata. As Ishwara, God's desire to exist is expressed through Sadashiva. Thus, Sadashiva is called the deity of existence. As the opposite of existence is destruction, he also bears the name, the destroyer, that in human beings Lord Shiva resides in the left side of the heart. Chakra with his power, Shivani or Parvati. She stores all that is dead, and all that conditions the mind in humans. As in a working factory, where fumes are created in the process of combustion, the activity of the Virata, in the process of existence, creates the primordial collective subconscious mind, Mahamanasa. Fumes from the existence activity of the Virata collect in this primordial subconscious mind, also known as the primordial superego.